सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोलिए श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Hari Om. Welcome to this episode of Chinmaya Yoga. Commit to win and win you will. So today's topic is actually control of the sense organs, which means controlling of the mind. In Vedanta, there is a thought of mind management. We like the word management more than control. You know, whenever somebody controls us or when we have to control somebody, it is not liked by those people, or we don't like it when someone controls us. The same way the mind also, the word control may be difficult, but management is a more easier thing to understand, because management means we are doing it ourselves for our own welfare. Control means we are trying to place our hands on something and stop things from happening. But the words for mind control are many in our Shastras. One is called Dhamma. First level of control is Shama. Shama is control of the mind as such, control of the thoughts in the mind. If I get a thought of I want to drink coffee, and I have just taken up a sadhana where I don't drink unnecessarily coffee and tea, not allowing, if the thought comes in my mind, allowing the thought to subside, or controlling the thought, controlling the thought through rational analysis. No, I have taken a decision not to take coffee, so this thought is not required. Putting down the thought and quietening the thought in the mind itself is called Shama. And Dhamma is when the thought has come and everything, the situation around is so suitable for accomplishing that thought of drinking coffee. Somebody is there to make the coffee, somebody is there to bring it to us, and it is even being kept before us. At that time, if you really want to control further, you can use Dhamma. Dhamma means restraining the hand from going for the cup, or with the speech telling, no, I don't want coffee, and restraining the tongue, even if the hand has taken it, restraining the tongue from tasting the coffee is called Dhamma. So these are the ways by which we can control our sense organs. Why should we control our sense organs? Because with the constant movement, agitation, and use of sense organs, the potential power within us, which is a power with which we can apply it in our lives to have great force, to achieve great things, will be exhausted little by little for no use at all, for no great benefit at all. Why it is not required? Why these small pleasures we say avoid is because the joy that you get out of drinking coffee maybe only will last the moments till we finish that cup. The moment we finish that cup, it turns into sorrow. The sorrow is how bitter the tongue tastes after drinking the coffee, and what are all the differences, what are all the unhealthy consequences that happen in the body because of drinking coffee, and the craving for more coffee. So every habit that we have starts, there is a four part to every habit. The first part is cue. Every day there are many thoughts and feelings in us about whatever we do, about what we like and what we don't like. They're all settled as feelings, and thoughts. These feelings and thoughts and objects around us, people and situation around us, are the cues. Cue means it is a suggestion. An image is there, a suggestion is there in the mind, a thought or a wanting is there in the mind. And when that wanting surfaces, when that desire surfaces, that is called the cue. Once, as soon as a cue is expressed in the mind's restlessness starts. The mind cannot be quiet. If, for example, the desire to drink coffee has arisen in the mind, with that desire, I cannot shut it off and continue to do any other work peacefully, because the mind will be doing its own bhajan inside. Coffee, 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 coffee. The mind will be talking inside, and with that talking of the mind, I cannot focus my attention on Adhyatma Ramayana, or I cannot focus my attention on studying the Ramayana, or I cannot focus my attention on the Bhagavatam. I'm just giving an example, or any other book also for that matter. Any book any book or any work where we have to pay attention. Certain works, like for example, reading a novel, it can happen automatically because our mind loves it already, and so we don't need to put in too much of effort to pay attention. Automatically, the mind gets attached. But there are certain things, for example, practicing yoga or doing meditation or doing any abhyasa, any practice that takes us uphill, that takes us higher and higher in evolution. Like when you're climbing the mountains, you have to put in a lot of energy, concentration, and focus, and bring in a celebratory mood to not be upset by the twists and turns of the mountain journey, and not be upset by the tiredness, not be enveloped by the tiredness and the laziness that can prevent us from going high. So, any work that I do which has to take me to a higher state involves my attention and my energy. And when this attention and energy is grabbed by something, some desire, some thought that can take me to a different path of fulfillment, of joy, which is temporary, and it also takes away a lot of energy in the process, then I will lose that much of energy which I need for my uphill journey in life, for my sadhana in life. So that is the reason why sense management and sense control is very, very important. So the first step is cue. This is modern day science, talks about the science of habit. There are authors like James Clear and authors like Charles Duhigg who have written about research study papers on how habits are formed and how we can overcome habit. So this whole process of Dhamma, Shama, and sense control is based on even though it is not, it is ancient literature when it comes to this the Dhamma which Yoga Sutras talk about, which Pujya Swami Chinmayananda speaks about in self-unfoldment, which is very important to conserve our energy. This is already there, but modern day literature is bringing out research to study patterns about the control of sense organs. So that is where this cue is the first thing. Cue means if I really love something and that object is just before me in this vessel, for example, this object, seeing this object itself will be a cue for me to trigger the memory of wanting to take that. So once that memory is triggered or once that memory is activated, then the mind starts agitating. Coffee, 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 coffee. The mind, the whole mind from head to foot has got one thought now: coffee, 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 coffee. The mind goes on and on. And the sound is so loud, the inner sound, the inner voice of the mind is so loud that you cannot peacefully sit and meditate. You cannot peacefully do anything unless you attend to that. desire. It is like the dog which is pulling you out and wanting you to take it for a walk. In the same way, the mind is pulling you out and wanting you means wanting the body to uh, take it to where the object of satisfaction is available, or wants the body to bring the object of satisfaction to where it is resting, and then take it in and enjoy that. Until then, the mind will not rest. So the next, once a cue is there, the next step is craving. This is what the vibration of the mind. It keeps, it's like almost a raspy breath. We use it whenever we really crave for something. Our breathing becomes very shallow. It becomes like a very agitated breathing, and that agitated breathing can actually bring the object to us. We The object will come to us by many means, by others bringing it to us, or we going to the place where that object is available. When the breathing becomes agitated, the mind is set into motion. So the second level is craving. The third level of a formation of the habit is cue, craving. The third is action. Now the process has moved from the mind to the physical body. The mind has given the command to the body and through the brain, and the body is set into motion. So either you get up, make yourself a cup of coffee, or you call somebody and say, I want this coffee, if that is possible. If nothing is done, you can go to Swiggy or Zomato and order your cup of coffee and wait till it comes. So till the coffee comes, the craving is still there. And then the moment the coffee comes, the craving is there. The moment the cup of coffee touches your lips, the craving is there. The first sip of coffee falls in your mouth. You enjoy that first sip of coffee. Then the craving has quietened down. That's all. For that 1 second, we are emptying a full cup of coffee, and after that, having that first sip, we cannot stop because we are thinking that the joy that I experience is there in the whole cup of coffee. It is not true. That first sip, coffee mantra begins, then the agitation of the breath begins, then the mind also gets agitated, and when the mind gets agitated, the body is moved into action either in terms of mouth or in terms of hands and legs, or working together to get that cup of coffee. And then the coffee has come in the most presentable manner, and you're so excited about it. The excitement lasts until the first sip is taken. But we imagine that the whole cup of coffee is going to give us joy, and we enjoy the whole cup. And what this does is, finally, there is something called the result of the action. When once I drink the coffee, the result is I experience enjoyment, I experience pleasure, I experience bliss. Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji says, who says there is no joy in a cup of coffee? Yes, there is joy in a cup of coffee, but the bliss or the joy that we experience by drinking the cup of coffee is very, very, very short lived. And what happens is, the final part of the whole thing is, so this experience, okay, I got this thought of coffee. There was a craving for coffee. The coffee came, I drank the coffee, and I felt happy. So this circuit is stored in our brain. This circuit of memory, the memory is now not just coffee. The memory is agitation for coffee, sorry, the cue for coffee, the agitation for coffee, the craving for coffee, the action that follows the agitation, and then finally drinking the coffee and experiencing the joy of coffee is stored partially in this manner in our brain. So this agitation and joy, that image keeps coming to us, and we can't stop ourselves from drinking coffee on a day-to-day basis. The latter part of the memory is not actually stored. The part that it is there, but we don't really go deep into it, and analyze about it. That is why in the Shastras, they say, the Bhagavad Gita also says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. If you want to get out of a habit, you have to concentrate, you have to contemplate on what is the sorrow that you get out of drinking the cup of coffee. Then you will be able to get out of the habit. Now we don't cogitate, or we don't think about the sorrow that we get. We only think about the joy that we get the cup of coffee, and it becomes unbearable to be separated from it, and we keep on going on and on until the habit is completely draining our energy, physically, mentally, emotionally. It makes us so agitated if we don't get it, and the whole day is spoiled if we are not able to get that cup of coffee. So, this is the anatomy of desire, anatomy of a habit, and anatomy of how we run our lives into ruin because we don't pay attention to what it is doing to us. The moment we pay attention, Vidyaranya Swami says, Avicharakrito bandha vicharena nivartate. Avichara. Without proper thinking, there is a bondage. Any, any habit, whether it can be sleeping too much, or whether it can be eating too much, or whether it can be eating junk food, or whether it can be reading stuff that we don't like to read, whether it can be spending more and more time on the computer, internet, mobile phone, talking to people, habit of talking. Everything is happening because of lack of thought. When the right thought is there, when the right application of mind is there, then we will be able to come out of that habit. And the most important factor is Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to Ishvara, because these habits are formed over generations, over lifetimes of ignorance. Many habits that we have are not formed even in this lifetime. It is continuing for many lifetimes. So it is not all in our own willpower that we can help ourselves. We need a higher power. Even in Alcoholics Anonymous, there are 12 points. They're very beautiful 12 points. Let me see if I can get them right now for you. The lovely 12 points of Alcoholics Anonymous, it is not only for alcoholics, but it is for all categories of people, where instead of alcohol, it can be coffee, it can be any other craving. Just let me see if I can get that for you. The 12 points are very beautiful, and in this context, we can recollect them and see. Saddleback, Neurology of Free Will, 275. Let me see if it is available right now. Otherwise, in some other session, we can go through it. What are the 12 points? That the first point is willpower. There is something that is much more greater. There is a power in life which is much more greater than what I can do. It is what is possible in my own willpower. That is being acknowledged in these 12 points of this Alcoholics Anonymous. That is the first one. There is a greater power than me. And then the last point is in this whole series of 12 points. It is available on the internet. The 12 points of AA, you just have to search for it and you will be able to find it. The last point is, what is the prayer? The individual is praying. The prayer is, what I can, please give me, this is my prayer to you, to the higher power, please give me the knowledge of what you think. You means everything is God. Whomever we think as God, we are going to pray to that higher power. What you think of what I should do. This is a very important statement in that last point. Please give me, this is my prayer to you is, please give me the knowledge of what you think as to what I should do. This one factor can be the guiding light for us to come out of any habit, meaning surrender to God. There are many other things in the process. We will see that some other day because it requires one whole session. So brahmacharya, Gurudev says, brahmacharya, this whole self-control, the Sanskrit word for it is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means immediately everybody understands that it is a life of a renunciate, the life of a nun or life of a monk is not brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means is not only brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means Brahmani Charati iti Brahmacharya. There are 10 sense organs I have. 5 sense organs of perception and 5 sense organs of action. All these 10 sense organs put together are walking the path of Brahman, walking the path of truth, walking in Brahman with the knowledge and consciousness of Brahman, walking in that path is called Brahmacharya, which means everywhere I see the Brahman. If I see food in a plate, I see Brahman in that food. I see that universal cosmic consciousness in that food. And so that leaves me without any kind of an agitation. See, if it is all everything in my body, I see it is all one part of my own body. When I see, I don't get excited on seeing my hands or seeing my legs or seeing my eyebrows or eyes. I don't get excited about it. I don't crave for it. I don't crave. I love my eye so much. I want my eye. I don't say such nonsensical things because I understand that everything is part of me and it is already with me. I don't have to go chasing after it. Because I don't have to go chasing after it, I am very quiet all the time. I don't crave for anything that belongs to me. Even if it is millions and millions of dollars in my own bank account, I don't crave for it. I am very quiet. Only when I think that it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to somebody else, this cue is there and then the craving is arising. If I know that coffee belongs to me, coffee is part of me, the joy of drinking coffee I have experienced. If I have realized that, then there is no more craving for drinking coffee and experiencing joy. And one of the secrets, there are many books in modern day New Age literature which says any wish that you want it to be fulfilled, you don't go asking or you don't go thinking about it. I have not got it. I have not got it. I want to get that promotion. I want to get that promotion. So I want to get that promotion thought is agitating in the mind all the time, and that thought becomes very strong. I want to get promotion. I want to get promotion. So that is a thought, that is a vibratory atmosphere. So that is never going to bring the promotion until we are able to let go of that thought and forget it. Instead, if you really truly want something, see, I am very grateful to the universe. I am very thankful to the universe that I have received this gift of what I really wanted. It can be a car, it can be a house, it can be good marks and good rank, or whatever it is, whatever you may want, you may desire. It can be a trim, fit, and slim and healthy figure of the physical body. It can be some superlative attainment. And so think about it, whatever thought that we have, whatever desire that we have, offer your prayer to the universe. Say, I am very grateful to the universe for granting me this desire of mine. And then proceed with your other work. Don't keep thinking that you have not really got and you're actually cheating yourself. It is not cheating. It will happen at some point of time. When is not our count, when is not in our capacity to say, but it will happen. So what will happen because of this is, if we truly need it, it will definitely come to us at the right time, but the agitation of the mind will become quiet. And so Brahmani Charati iti Brahmacharya. So the eyes, whatever object you see, everything samatva darshana will be there. So what am I saying? It can be Kim Gam Gambuni Bimbitembaramano Chandala Vati Payaha sings Manisha in Manisha Panchakam. Adi Shankaracharya sings the sunlight, whether it is falling on the river Ganga or in the well of the outcast who lives on eating dog flesh. whether it falls in that person's well or whether it falls in the river Ganga, the sunlight is the same, and the sunlight is untouched by the purity of the Ganga does not make the sunlight pure, and the dirt around the surroundings of this person where the dirty well is there, it does not make the sunlight dirty. So in the same way, what is coming out of our sense organs is consciousness, the light of consciousness. What comes out of our ears, what comes out of our eyes, what comes out of our nose, the power of grabbing the smell, the power of grabbing the form, the power of grabbing the sound, the power of grabbing the taste, and power of grabbing the sense of perception, the power of holding something, the power of speaking, the power of walking, the power of excreting, and the power of reproducing. All these sense organs, behind the sense organs, there is the power, and that is the power that is expressing. This power is like electricity. This power is like nuclear power. This power is like wind power. This power is like thermal energy. You cannot see it, but it is only that power which is moving the car, the power which is moving the fan, the power which is shining as a light, the power which is cooling as a refrigerator. In the same way, the power which is seeing, power which is hearing, power which is tasting, power which is smelling, power which is tasting or feeling. So that power falls on everything, and it is that power only that grabs the essence of whatever we see, hear, taste, smell, and touch, and gives it back to us as information. And so when we realize that this is the power that is present everywhere, the power of the universe, the power of consciousness, the power of mind, the power of the self is falling on everything, and it is that power only that I enjoy and experience and feel happy. And it is not the coffee, it is not the object that I'm trying to taste, smell, hear, touch that is giving me the joy. Swami Shivananda Ji Maharaj says, our joys are not because of the objects. My joy that I experience in eating a nice chocolate cake or eating an ice cream or eating or going to a movie or experiencing something very nice, that joy is not what gives me happiness. My happiness comes because the mind is agitating inside and dancing and swimming and shaking and throbbing inside with a desire. And when the desire is brought to that mind, the mind experiences that desire, and the dancing and the throbbing and the shaking and the thrilling is stopped completely. The waves of the mind become very quiet, and because of the waves of the mind that become very quiet, I am experiencing joy, I am experiencing happiness. When we realize this, automatically our sense organs will become quiet. The eyes will become quiet. It is not because I am looking at some beloved form that I love, some beloved object that I love, that I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling happy because when I look at that beloved object, my mind becomes quiet. And because of that quietness of the mind, I'm experiencing happiness, and it is not because of the object. So this is a way to come out even of addictions and habits. Suppose I'm addicted to something, you have that object of your addiction, whatever you have, but don't have it mindlessly along with other things, along with talking, along with going around with a mobile phone, or along with reading something. Don't have that. Give a special, for example, suppose there is a craze for biscuits. Leave everything out. Just keep two biscuits on the plate, keep it on the table, as if you are setting your whole lunch time or a half an hour time of lunch, eating those two biscuits. Look at those two biscuits in your plate, take them, study them, analyze them, experience the joy of the biscuit has given you, express your gratitude. Oh wow, thank you so much for giving me so much of joy all these years of my life. So you kindly you can take that piece of biscuit, you can taste it a little bit, you can chew that small piece, you can be with that feeling, you can experience that feeling completely, you can experience how the joy is happening because of the biscuit, or anything that you have, any object that you have that you want to really get rid of. Express gratitude to that object. try it for maybe 21 days and see what is the. This is like, instead of avoiding the object, instead of pushing the situation away, instead of avoiding the situation that has turned into a habit, and we are unable to control our senses because of that, keep that object in front, enjoy that object little by little for a long period of time. Or if you really, I would not suggest this because I don't want you to hurt yourself in the process. But what some people say is, if you really want to get, but I do not even want to mention that, going into excess indulgence of that object also, because we invite all the problems that the objects bring very fast. Suppose I like puris very much. One day fully have puris for lunch, puris for breakfast, puris for dinner, puri for in between snacks, and I fill myself with that puri, that finally that I will get a disgust for that. That is one way. But that is not a good way because it spoils our health. But this one is very good. Take a little bit of that, enjoy it little by little, till you get completely bored eating that biscuit or eating that puri. Chew it and chew it and chew it, and see every level of that item that you eat. At every stage, you experience completely how it tastes. Our joys are not, our habits are formed because we don't experience every stage of what we experience, whatever, whether it's a cup of coffee or whether it's a cup of tea. We only remember that happy stage. The moment that we drink it, wow, we feel very happy. We remember only that. But at every stage, every atomic stage of that process, when you keep recollecting, you focus on that and you remember, you will also come to the point when there is so much of disgust that is happening because of the same thing that we enjoy. When we focus on that, that is called dukkha dosha anudarshanam. It gives me sorrow and it gives me dosha. There is a lot of impurities that I gather because of this. When I constantly focus on this, automatically the mind will withdraw from that object that is not required for me, and I will be able to manage my senses very well. As the Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, the two ways in the Bhagavad Gita also say, the two ways by which we can manage our sense organs or any disturbance of the mind is Abhyasa and Vairagya. So every day maintain your practice, which is called Abhyasa, and every day consciously withdraw the mind from all levels of attachment wherever it is to any particular object, thing, or situation or person. When these two are practiced simultaneously, Abhyasa on one side means constant practice of having the nice taste, of having uh, of going behind very evolved experiences, like experience for fine music, experience for good sport, or experience for exercising the mind, reading elevated literature. Cultivating these experiences is called abhyasa, or developing a like for all this is abhyasa. Vairagya is removing the mind from all those experiences that are dragging the mind into depression and difficulties, addictions, and unwanted habits. So, when these two are followed, the mind is controlled through the sense organs. And what happens is brahmacharya, when you follow brahmacharya, which means when you follow control of sense organs or managing the sense organs, anuttama sukhalabha, sorry, Ananta Virya, Patanjali Maharishi says, there is so much of virya, there is so much of power, there is so much of energy when all the sense organs which take the energy out, they are controlled and they are shut down. And ideally, it is not done by force, it is done by proper thinking, contemplation, and little by little practice loving, kind practice with a lot of gratitude for the sense organs. When you add the touch of gratitude to your practice, whatever you're doing, you be grateful for that sense organ. You be grateful for the mind for taking it through so long. When the gratitude thought is there, everything becomes very quiet, very easily. And our practice and sadhana becomes very easy with gratitude. With this, we will meet again next week on Chinmaya Yoga. From tomorrow, we will have Mahabharata in Tamil from Shanti Parva. Om ॐ ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरि ओम।